Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today is the first episode of a new series that I would like to call Swimmingly Swell Shark Facts. On this card, I am painting a scalloped hammerhead, also known as a Sophia Lowini, a species of shark that is well known for the distinguishing shape of its head. The shark is also known as the bronze, kinky-headed, or southern hammerhead. The scalloped hammerhead was first named Zagia Lowini, then renamed Sophia Lowini by Edward Griffith and Hamilton Smith in 1834. The scalloped hammerhead is easily distinguished from other hammerhead sharks by the central indentation on the anterior margin of its head. There are also two indentations on either side of the central indentation which give the scalloped look. Typically, males measure 1.5 to 1.8 meters, or 4.9 to 5.9 feet, and weigh around 29 kilograms or 64 pounds when they attain sexual maturity, whereas the larger females measure 2.5 meters, 8.2 feet, and weigh around 36.2 kilograms, 80 pounds at sexual maturity. The dentition of these sharks consists of small, narrow, triangular teeth that have smooth edges, except in larger fish, which may have somewhat serrated teeth. The teeth in the front of the mouth have erect cusps, and the teeth in the bottom jaw have cusps that are more erect than those of the upper jaw. The scalloped hammerhead is a coastal pelagic species. It occurs over continental and insular shelves and live in nearby deeper water. It is found in warm temperate and tropical waters, worldwide from 46 degrees north to 36 degrees south. It can be found down to depths over 500 meters, 1,600 feet, but is most often found around 25 meters or 82 feet. During the day, they are more often to be found close to the shore, and at night they hunt further offshore. Adults are found alone, in pairs, or in small schools, while young sharks occur in larger schools. Juveniles and pups thrive in shallow coastal waters, such as bays and mangroves, which provide shelter from predators and waters high in nutrients from deposited sediments. Using conventional and acoustic shark tagging methods, found that adult scalloped hammerheads migrate from the pelagic waters surrounding Cocos Islands to the mangroves in the tropical fjord of Golfo Dulce, a tropical fjord found on the Pacific coast of Costa Rica. These sharks are often seen during the night, day, and morning in big schools, sometimes numbering hundreds, most likely because large groups can obtain food more easily than singles or small groups, especially larger and trickier prey is commonly seen. The scalloped hammerhead uses deep water to survive as safety in feeding, although they have high metabolic rates and have a tendency to be sedentary and allow currents to carry them as they swim. As a result, this causes scalloped hammerheads to be selective where they swim and the depth of which they tend to stay. They also make use of Earth's magnetic field. Scalloped hammerheads give live birth. Compared to other species, the scalloped hammerhead produces large litters, 12 to 41 pups, and this is most likely due to high infant mortality. Like most sharks, parental care is not seen. This species does not seem to attack each other, even in periods of starvation. In addition, the scalloped hammerheads have migratory behaviors. As a result, deprivation results from migration and young growth. Scalloped hammerheads are generalists and opportunistic predators, eating whatever is available and abundant in their area. Specifically, the shark feeds primarily on fish such as sardines, mackerel, and herring, and occasionally they feed on cephalopods such as squid and octopus. The scalloped hammerhead was the first shark species to be protected under the U.S. Endangered Species Act. As of 2019, the scalloped hammerhead has been categorized as critically endangered by the IUCN Red List. The IUCN cites overfishing as the main cause for the drop in population numbers. In many areas, officials have implemented management regulations on fishing vessels. They have made a regulation that prohibits taking sharks on board to tranship, shell, or store for further selling. This not only protects the scalloped hammerhead shark, but also the entire order of Carcharheniformes. Hammerhead sharks are also not only being intentionally caught, but also being caught non-intentionally on long lines and nets. Bycatch has also greatly reduced these species because they often migrate in large groups. This allows fisheries to catch many sharks at once. The mortality rate of the sharks that are caught is almost always 90% of the individuals. Even though it is hard to prevent these sharks from biting the bait or getting in the net, there have been devices put in place for a bycatch reduction. Along the eastern Atlantic, regulations have been implemented to control the overexploitation of the scalloped hammerhead. The team in this area has concluded the species is at high risk of extinction now and for the future. It is essential to understand the movement patterns of these sharks to be able to place effective conservation and management efforts. Marine reserves have implemented in many areas to allow sharks to recover. It is very important to place these reserves over areas that sharks use as breeding grounds and nurseries, so they have somewhere to raise their pups. It is also beneficial to place the marine reserves in areas where they are prized as a non-consumptive resource, through shark diving tourism. In parts of the Atlantic Ocean, their population has declined by over 95% in the past 30 years. Among the reasons for this drop are overfishing and the rise in demand for shark fins. Researchers attribute this growth in demand to the increase in shark fins as an expensive delicacy, such as shark fin soup, and in 2008 called for a ban on shark finning, a practice in which the shark's fins are cut off and the rest of the animal is thrown back in the water to die. Hammerheads are among the most commonly caught sharks for finning. The species' tendency to aggregate in large groups, making capture in large numbers on long lines, bottom nets, and trolls even easier. Hammerhead sharks are overfished all around the world for their fins and liver oil. As of 2020, an estimated 1.3 to 2.7 million fins are collected each year from smooth and scalloped hammerhead sharks for the shark fin trade. DNA barcoding can assist it in the identification of scalloped hammerheads remain to aid conservation efforts. According to a January 2021 study in Nature, which studied 31 species of sharks and rays, the number of these species found in open oceans had dropped by 71% in around 50 years. The scalloped hammerhead was included in the study. The gestation period is reported to be around 12 months. Scalloped hammerheads give live birth. Compared to other species, the scalloped hammerhead produces large litters, 12 to 41 pups, and this is most likely due to high infant mortality. Like most sharks, parental care is not seen. Nursery grounds for this species are predictable and repeated over the years, and they are faithful to their natal sites. Their natal sites still cause high infant mortality. A lack of resources prevents all young from surviving. As a result, only the fittest grow to maturity. Also, should a population get depleted, it recovers through reproduction and not immigration. The species does not seem to attack each other even in periods of starvation. In addition, scalloped hammerheads have migratory behaviors. As a result, deprivation results from migration and young growth. While the Taiwan scalloped hammerhead seems to have an early maturity rate, it is still reported to be slow to mature. The scalloped hammerhead has several advantages to capture its prey. The shape of its head allows it to burrow into the seafloor and pin stingrays down, while the wide head and special sensory cells allow the scalloped hammerhead to successfully detect fish. Scalloped hammerhead sharks have a honing behavior to navigate in the ocean. They move in the night and use the environment as a map, similar to a human reading a topographical map. By experimentation and tagging these sharks, one could test for any guidance in a shark's movement. These sharks use a point-to-point type of school swimming and do not favor going too deep, where the temperature change hitchhike with current speed and directional change. The scalloped hammerhead uses deep water to survive as safety and feeding. Although they have high metabolic rates, they have a tendency to be sedentary and allow currents to carry them as they swim. As a result, this causes scalloped hammerheads to be selective where they swim and the depth at which they tend to stay. They also make use of Earth's magnetic field. The female scalloped hammerheads migrate offshore at a smaller size than the males. Because the larger classes of hammerheads, such as those from 100 to 140 centimeters, 39 to 55 inches long, travel deeper down, males and females differ in that males are observed to stay deeper than female sharks in general. Sexual maturity generally occurs once a scalloped hammerhead attains 240 centimeters, or 7.9 feet in total, or longer. Physically, the mature females have considerably wider uteri than their maturing counterparts. A lack of mating scars have been found on mature females. Unlike females, males reach sexual maturity at a much smaller size. Male-to-female ratio of scalloped hammerheads 1:1:29. Females are probably capable of giving birth annually, usually in the summer. These sharks are often seen during the night, day, and morning in big schools, sometimes numbering hundreds, most likely because large groups can obtain food more easily than singles or small groups, especially larger and trickier prey as commonly seen. The younger the shark, the closer to the surface they tend to be, while the adults are found much deeper in the ocean. They are not considered dangerous and are normally not aggressive towards humans. The scalloped hammerhead is a coastal pelagic species. It occurs over continental and insular shelves and in nearby deeper water. It is found in warm temperate and tropical waters. Worldwide from 46 degrees north to 36 degrees south. It can be found down to depths over 500 meters, or 1,600 feet, but it is most often found above 25 meters, or 82 feet. During the day, they are more often found close to shore, and at night they hunt further offshore. Adults are found alone, in pairs, or in small schools, while young sharks occur in larger schools. Juveniles and pups thrive in shallow coastal waters, such as bays and mangroves, which provide shelter from predators and waters high in nutrients from deposited sediments. Research carried out by the non-governmental organization Mission Tribune using conventional and acoustic shark tagging methods, found that adult scalloped hammerheads migrate from the pelagic water surrounding the Cocos Islands to the mangroves in the tropical fjord of Golfo Dulce, a tropical fjord on the Pacific coast of Costa Rica. Here, female sharks give birth to live young. Juveniles remain in the shallow root system of the mangroves for around 3 years. After this time, they leave Golfo Dulce and migrate back to the Cocos Islands to feed in pelagic waters. The scalloped hammerhead is easily distinguished from the other hammerhead sharks by the central indentation on the anterior margin of the head. There are also 2 indentations on either side of the central indentation, which gives the scalloped look. They have a very large first dorsal fin that is slightly hooked and a smaller second dorsal fin. Scalloped hammerheads are usually typically uniform, grayish-brown, bronze, or olive with a white underside for counter shading. Typically, males measure 1.5 to 4.9 to 5.9 feet and weigh around 29 kilograms, 64 pounds, when they attain sexual maturity, whereas the larger females measure 2.8 meters, 8.2 feet, and weigh around 36.2 kilograms, or 80 pounds, at sexual maturity. The maximum length of scalloped hammerhead is 4.3 meters, 14 feet, and the maximum weight is 152.4 kilograms, or 336 pounds. Per fish base, a female caught off Miami was found to have measured 3.26 meters, 10.7 feet, and reportedly weighed 200 kilograms, or 440 pounds, though it was in a gravid state then. These sharks have a very high metabolic rate, which governs the behavior in acquiring food. They occupy tertiary trophic levels. The scalloped hammerhead shark, like many other species, use shores as a breeding ground. Due to high metabolic rates, young scalloped hammerheads need a lot of food, or they will starve. S. lewini is also noted for its large and complex brain, with high levels of cognitive capabilities, social intelligence, sensorimotor functions, intricate migrations, complex habit relationships, and athletic capture of prey. Their social intelligence is especially important for the aggressive behavior, allowing the species to reproduce with the fittest members more easily proliferate the species. The dentition of these sharks consists of small, narrow, triangular teeth that have smooth edges, except in larger fish which may have somewhat serrated teeth. The teeth in the front of the mouth have erect cusps, and the teeth in the bottom jaw have cusps that are more erect than those of the upper jaw. The scalloped hammerhead was first named Zagea lewini and then renamed Cyphera lewini by Edward Griffith and Hamilton Smith in 1834. It has also been named Cistracean lewini by Day in 1865, Zagaena erythea by Klungsinger in 1871, Cistracean oceana by Garmon in 1913, and Cephalopteplana by Springer in 1941. Sphrena comes from the Greek and translates to hammer. It is a sister species to Sphrena gilberti, differing by the number of vertebrae. Though once considered a distinct species, McErhan and Serret synonyms Sphrena coida with Sphrena lewini in 1986. These sharks are classified as ground sharks in the order Carcharhiniformes. The scalloped hammerhead Sphrena lewini is a species of hammerhead shark in the family Sirenidae. It was originally known as Zagea lewini. The Greek word Sphrena translates into hammer in English, referring to the shape of the shark's head, which is its most distinguishing characteristic. The shark's eyes and nostrils are at the tips of the extensions, and it is a fairly large hammerhead, but it is still smaller than both the great and smooth hammerheads. The shark is also known as the bronze, kinky-headed, or southern hammerhead. It primarily lives in warm, temperate, and tropical coastal waters all around the globe between latitudes 46 north and 36 south. Down to a depth of 500 meters, 1,600 feet, it is most common of all hammerheads. Companies such as Fallow, a company that sells bracelets and plushies for access to trackers on certain endangered animals, sends profits from each purchase to conservation efforts such as Saving the Blue, Beltran Labs, Seymour Marine Discovery Center, Sea Turtle Conservancy, and many, many others. I personally have 3 different tracker bracelets, an elephant seal, and 2 sharks, but I have had a couple more sharks than I do bracelets. I find it most interesting because I can see where the sharks are at a current moment in time, although I never have plans to go out and see them, because even though these sharks are pretty docile, they are still wild animals, and you should never go out and try and interact with them in the wild. They are still animals.